Hello, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
I'm good. Good to be talking to you after all this time.
Yes.
I know we spoke a bit, obviously, before we pressed record, and you said the last session was in November, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's been a few months now.
A few months, yeah. Now it's July.
Yeah, perfect. I just wanted to ask you some questions about what you're going through because you sent me an email the other day just saying that you're doing really well and that you're not getting these intrusive thoughts anymore. And I wanted to ask you about your journey. Of course, if you can give any tips to other people that have been struggling, that would be really, really helpful. And thank you so much for doing this and for saying yes, because it's really helpful for everyone. So thank you for that.
Of course, no problem. Like I obviously like living in such a free state of mind, I can help but to look back and, thank you for it because if it wasn't for you, I don't think I could get to where I need to be.
That's amazing. Thank you. What was happening exactly in your life when you
At the
decided to
time.
start working with us?
So around the time that I reached out to you, it was like lots of work. I was dealing with a lot of stress from everything and everyone. And it didn't help that I had RJ.
Yeah.
So can you imagine like being stressed and having to deal with this, just
Hmm.
intrusive thoughts that you really didn't need to think about. And I couldn't stop it. I couldn't control it. And so I was at the peak of needing to survive. I needed to escape from this the mind that I had at the time.
Yeah.
And I came across to your channel and I was just going through some videos and everything that you've said aligned with how I felt and how I was feeling,
Hmm.
like to the T.
Hmm.
And it helped to know that you had RJ too.
Yeah.
So coming to someone who understood what I was going through, I was like, okay, maybe this could be it. This could be the solution to what I needed at
Hmm.
the time. And yes, so I got in touch with you, and we had the intro meeting, and obviously you confirmed that whatever I had was definitely RJ. And I appreciate you doing that because I could come in and not have RJ, and
Hmm.
you could you just took me in, took my money,
Yeah.
I just not get to where I needed to be. So yeah, I appreciate the intro and the questions that you had.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I think for the first, two sessions, it was just like getting to know each other. It was fine. This was something that I had done with other, therapists in the past.
Yeah.
So for now, it wasn't anything special yet. But then you dig in deeper and you ask the right questions, and you also feel I got this sense of sympathy, empathy for me because
Mhm.
you've been through it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're at the different stage now, but you understood at the time that I was going through. And as each session gone by, I have some homework to do.
Mhm.
And despite my heavy load of crazy working hours, I managed to put in a time to do them. And I was serious about getting over this because
Yeah.
I'm fed up with it. Like I just want to get it out of my system.
Yeah.
And yeah, so after some training, it was a bit difficult to adjust just because by nature I don't meditate. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot of like mind control to kind of like just do some of the training that we were doing or working on at the time.
Yeah.
But with practice, it did make it easier. Though at the time, I still had intrusive thoughts. It didn't stop right away.
Mhm.
There was, work to be done, but I sense like some improvement and there was, progress. And so we continued, more trainings and different techniques, and it was definitely getting better.
Yeah.
It wasn't like completely gone. Like I wanted it gone completely, and I'm
For
like,
sure.
there might be something. And then the last session, not the last, but the hypnosis session that we had
Yeah.
was the biggest change that I saw right after.
Mhm.
I Yeah, it was just a heavy session, like a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
just came out. Like it was bottled up for, I guess, over 2 decades. I'm
Hmm.
29. So yeah, it's been it's all from your upbringing, and it was a nice healing process. And over time, managing my breathing and the training that was given to me, yeah, after 2 months of hypnosis session, I was like, I just didn't think about it. And I only realized like recently, I was like, oh, didn't I have RJ?
I know.
So I was like, oh,
Very
it's gone.
true.
I didn't even notice, and it took a long time for me to like, wait, I did heal. I have to thank Eva. Just pop an
Yeah.
email to thank you for it. Yeah,
Yeah, it
sorry,
happens that way.
while to get in touch with you, but it's just I was living my life. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's how it happens for most people because when you're in it, you can't imagine life without it. And you think to yourself, okay, well, what's it like not having it anymore? And it's just, you don't wake up every day. And I've said this in one of the videos, that you don't wake up every day and think, oh, I don't have RJ today. You just don't have it and you forget about it. It's weird how it works because when you're in it, you really can't imagine that you can get there. It's difficult sometimes to picture that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm living proof of that.
Yeah, for sure. And for you, how bad did you have it? Did you have the mental movies, the intrusive thoughts? Like, what
Yeah.
were you going through?
So prior to meeting you, I just had like flash of like movie scenes,
Yeah.
and it's what's the word?
Escalated?
Yeah, it's really over the top. Like whatever I was imagining, it was not even like it didn't happen. I
Mm.
just I just made it in my mind.
Hmm.
And if I mean, I also have the urge to ask questions, and if he doesn't answer me,
Yeah, I
I would
remember.
go crazy. Like I needed to know, and
Oh,
if
yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, like he would have a hard time. And eventually, like he did answer the questions, and then I would, dream about it, like making scenes in my head, and like, why do I do that to myself, And then he's like fed up, like, why you ask me question and you punish me for it,
Mm.
and yeah, I just didn't know. It was just like this OCD, like you needed to know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when you do know, you have more info or more ingredients to create a movie scene in your head.
exactly.
It's really a vicious, I don't know if it's a disease, but like it's just a vicious, terrible,
Yeah,
shitty condition.
yeah, yeah, it is.
Um,
So
yeah.
your compulsion is that you would ask questions and you had to know the answer.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's only when I get flash of like scenes in my head, then I ask
Yeah,
because I needed to verify that it happened.
yeah, yeah.
And even if he gave me the answer that I was happy with, I would be like, no, you're lying. This didn't happen because blah, blah, blah. And then obviously he's like, you're crazy. And I was literally crazy. And I'm so grateful that he was very patient with me and
Yeah.
tried to make it work between us.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, if it was someone else, I don't think they would stay.
Yeah. How long before we started working together were you struggling? Do you remember?
Oh, for years. I started to have this RJ when I was 19. It was when I had my first love, and he was, older than I was. And obviously when you date someone who's older than you, they're
Hmm.
gonna have more experiences in life, they're gonna have more girlfriends than I had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's where I started, and it was really bad. I didn't know what I had. I didn't believe in going to counseling or seeing therapists because, I was very young, I was ignorant. I thought that it was only for people with bad mental health, and I didn't want to be in that category.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I just suffered. So
Mm.
then the relationship ended, and my second boyfriend, yeah, it happened again. And I'm like, okay, this is, I thought it was just because, I love the next one more, and therefore it's
Mm.
coming out more. Yeah, no, as when it gets bad, I would break up, and then, with my new boyfriend, I would start the cycle again.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So you
thought
experienced
ending
that
would,
in a relationship.
yeah, it's just a vicious cycle. So I just have it in every single relationship I had.
Mm.
And it was weird because as soon as the relationship ended, I didn't have these RJ. I'm like, okay, well, should I just be single for the rest of my life? That
Yeah.
can't be, I can't be thinking that way. And so I started to see counseling after my first boyfriend. So second boyfriend, I started to see counseling. And I just went for 2 sessions. I thought it was like done, it was healed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't. So I was like, oh, maybe seeing counseling wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I just ended with that boyfriend at the time. And then, yeah, third boyfriend, I didn't see any therapist. And then fourth, didn't. And then I can't keep on ending relationships just because I can't deal with the past. Everybody that I'm going to be with will
Yeah.
have past. So I started, fast forward to today with my current boyfriend, been together for 3 years now.
Wow.
Thank you very much. That's the longest relationship I've ever had just because of
Wow.
today. So I'm really, really proud that it has got to this far.
Wow.
Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, in the past it was like, mark 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
gone, like ex-boyfriend. So 3 years now, going strong. He was actually the one that helped me. At first, he was like, maybe I needed to do a bit more research into what I have because I can't just be having therapists without, knowing exactly what type of therapist I needed to see.
Yeah.
So then I dig in deeper, read on Reddit, Google, articles, journals, and then obviously I came across to you because I found out that I had RJ. So I needed to know that I had retroactive jealousy before I got to you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So then as soon as I knew what that was, I obviously did some YouTube, and I've gone through a lot of YouTubers and guys, female, they said all the right thing, but I didn't, whatever they said, I've done those and I felt like it wasn't related to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I found your video, and the more I watch, the more I'm like, oh my God, I just found someone who has the exact same similar situation to me. I need to meet up with her. I need to be her best friend. And yeah, so that's where it's that.
Yeah, yeah. And how were you feeling? So we had the first call and then obviously hypnotherapy came up. How did you feel about that before we actually tried it?
Um, because I've seen a lot of therapists, I didn't have a lot of hopes, but I was hoping that it would be better
Mm.
just because of, your experiences and what you've mentioned.
Mm.
Um, I wouldn't say pessimistic.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like I'm just gonna give it a try because I've done a lot of things and it's not working. I'm running out of options. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, yeah. So it's more desperation.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Keyword.
Yeah. And so, okay. So you feel that the sessions that we had were helpful, but then what really changed it for you were was the hypnotherapy.
Yeah, the hypnosis. I think, looking back, I felt like I could have dedicated more time to the training
Mm.
just because I was working a lot. Like I was just crazy working hours.
How
And
did you even find that though? Because people can't concentrate when they have RJ. So you had this like job that required a lot from you. You're working so hard, but you also had RJ, which makes you not be able to concentrate. So how were you dealing with that at the time?
if I was working, like at the time I had hybrid. So I would work some days in the office, some days at home.
Mhm.
When I was working in the office, it was fine. But then when I come back from work, like, driving or like taking a metro, taking a taxi, it's during those gap that the
Right.
intrusive come. Yeah. But if I'm like in the zone, like working, it doesn't really come as much as when I'm like sitting or like
Yeah.
writing. It
Okay.
does come, but like obviously you have to brush it away, but
Mhm.
it's still it's just like a mosquito bite that you need to itch.
Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So the hypnotherapy session really changed things for you. And then for you, basically it reduced until one day you look back and you didn't have it anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It was around like December, January. I didn't have it. It was slowing down. And then from like Feb till now, I just became like free. And I
Wow.
was like, why am I living a much freer life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So
Yeah.
how do you feel now? after the session? So when you sort of thought about it the other day and
Yeah.
realized you don't have these mental movies anymore, I mean, a lot of people ask this, but what is life like now without it? Because you've had it in every relationship before.
Yeah.
So not having it now and being in the longest one yet, what's that like?
How do I describe what it's like? You know, when you have a nice day, you go
Yeah.
for a walk, you look in the sky, and you're just like happy with life.
Mm,
You have your mind is so clear. It's for me, I guess the way to describe it is like walking in the park, going for a walk, and just not having to think about anything. That's
no.
what it felt like. I was just living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. And I know you talked about going forward and what you're looking forward to. You're going to travel a little bit. What is, now that you feel free and know that you're free and have recognized it, what are you sort of most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, taking the next step in my relationship. And, I'm 29. I want to get engaged. I've been with my partner, 3 years.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. But he hasn't asked me yet. He said he will
Very
soon,
well.
but he's prioritizing his career first. And I'm trying to be understanding. So soon, I'm hoping. But yeah, no, just living and just making memories with my partner.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to.
So do you feel, because your partner had some sessions with Sean too, right?
He did.
Did you
He
find
was
those
not
helpful, do you think?
really, at first, he was like, oh, why do I need to be involved?
Yes, of
And I
course.
was like, and then I explained to him that I think it's important for you to talk to someone who has gone through or, has been in your shoes.
Mm,
And, you might want to ask how he dealt with a person who has RJ.
yeah,
And then, like, you know what? Yeah, that might be useful because obviously he was, it's annoying for him.
for sure.
And actually, after the conversation, he was like, yeah, it's nice to not be alone. And it made him more understanding, you know, for me, like when I ask him questions, even after, and I know you told me not to ask.
I know it's difficult.
Still there, it's still there. It just doesn't disappear right away. It takes time.
Yeah.
Um, he was able to answer in a way that was more understanding. So yeah, definitely talking to Sean helped.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that the partners can do is just not take it personally as much as they can, because then resentment can build.
No, for sure. And like he said to me that he does not think of his exes,
Hmm.
and I'm the one that's making him think,
Yes.
and
Yes.
like that's a bigger picture that a lot of people with RJ needs to see. Like, they don't think about it. You are making them think.
Exactly. Literally, like within detail when you ask the questions.
Yeah, and like, you're making them relive whatever, you
Yeah.
ask them.
Yeah. 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 Okay. And so to anyone that is struggling now with RJ, what would you say? What tips can you give? Anything that you think can help other people based on what you've been through and where you are now?
Yeah. I would say don't wait till last minute. Don't wait to get help. If you feel like you have a little bit of RJ, get help
Mm-hmm.
in the right place. I think seeing a therapist just for the sake of, if they don't know what you have, it's literally talking to a wall
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand you. And when you tell them what you think, they just tell you don't think about it. Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Captain obvious. So yeah, like get help. And I think I would recommend you, Eva, as a first step, if you feel like anything else isn't working, give you a chance. And
Hmm.
I think you could help them like
Yeah.
you helped me. And I had crazy, really bad RJ.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Anything else that you would like to add?
I think people with RJ, when they see you or when they see something that they think it's going to heal them, they want it done right there and then. But it takes
Yeah.
time, especially if you've had it for years.
Yeah. 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 Because again, before we started recording, you said that Eva said it's gonna be gone in 2 months, and it's been 2 months and it's not gone.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we first started our training,
Yeah.
I asked like, what is when do you think I would be completely healed from this RJ? And at the time, it was very early on.
Yeah.
And you said I think around 2 months.
Yeah.
And obviously with my environment, yeah, 2 months wasn't cutting for it.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't have a lot of work, 2 months would have been fine. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure at the time you knew how much I was working. I'm not sure if I shared a lot. But
Not in
yeah,
the beginning, I don't
did
think.
I kept on asking you, every session, like, oh, what about now? When do you think it's gonna be?
Is it
And
gone
I
yet? Is it gone yet? Is it gone yet?
inappropriate, and I know that, from your side, you do want to give like courage, because that's what we all need,
Yeah.
some encouragement.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you need to take it seriously. You need to make time for it. You cannot go into healing and not make time for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time and for doing this. And I'm so happy that you are now free of it and that you're looking forward to all these cool things to come.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eva.